Okay, happy Monday, you guys. I just want to welcome everyone. It is our episode 3 of it's our episode 3 of our Cleft, Lip, and Palate Awareness Month. So today I'm very excited to introduce to you our amazing guest. Her name is Iva Ballou. Iva, I need to double check if I'm pronouncing your name right because I want to get this right. So, you guys, like, she is an amazing confidence coach. She is also a motivational speaker, and she uses her gift of speaking as a tool to fight bullies. So, I'm gonna ask her to join in, and we're gonna hear her story today. Oh. Hi. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for Eva to join us. She's gonna be here any minute now. Hi, Eva. Can you come and join us? Oh. Oh, there she is. Okay, sorry guys. Just gonna try this again. Here we go.
Hi, Audrey. I was sitting there like, I'm here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. Actually, Audrey, it is Iva.
Iva, okay.
Yeah, no problem. It happens all the time, and I'm so used to it now that it's just like a part of the joke. And I always like to say, it's Iva, like I as in igloo, V as in Victor, A as in apple.
I will remember that. Like last week I said Iva, and then today before we went live, I Googled and Google says Eva. I'm like, oh. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna ask her. Iva.
I'm gonna have to get Google. That's actually one of the running jokes in my family. I think I must have been like in the 2nd or 3rd grade, and we had a substitute teacher, and she insisted on calling me Eva, and I had corrected her, like even as a child, like I had corrected her
Oh yeah.
multiple times, like it's Iva, and I think that she thought that I was trying to pull a fast one, so. I think I finally just got frustrated as children do and was like, do you not know your vowel sounds?
Mm-hmm.
And so she's in the principal's office, who actually was a friend of my mother, and the principal was like, no, that's actually her name. She was telling you correctly. It is Iva. So I think ever since then, I've just been really like, it's, yeah,
And
it's Iva.
important that we let people know that this is our name, this is how we want to be called, and I think it's great. And I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name.
No, you're fine.
Iva, so okay, I'm really excited to have you here today. Like I met you through Jen. I was like, Jen,
Yes.
who else? I'm like, we need more people in our Instagram live, someone that can inspire. And then she's like, oh, I know someone. And then that's how I got connected with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like
I'm so happy.
you're amazing. I'm so amazed on like what you've accomplished and what you're doing.
Thank you.
That's really amazing. So, can you please introduce yourself and where were you born and raised? Where do you still live in the same place, or you move? Yeah, tell us about yourself.
No problem. So hi everyone, I'm Iva Ballou, confidence coach, motivational speaker, born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm actually moved away twice. So for college, I went to Howard University, proud Howard Bison. Woohoo! And so lived in DC, and then after graduation, my mom was really funny. She was like, you have 3 months to find a job, and after that, you are cut off. And so, like, literally on graduation day, hadn't even took off my cap and gown yet. And I was like, well, dang. And so, unfortunately, 3 months came. Nothing had come through. So I moved back to Jacksonville for like 9 months. And I was like, oh, no, this is not going to work. So I moved to Charlotte. And even while I was in Charlotte, I still was like, I want to get back to DC. So I was in Charlotte for maybe 2 years and then spent the last 5 years in DC. I only recently moved back to Jacksonville. I know that's a lot of moving, guys. but I only recently moved back to Jacksonville, one because of my mother and her health, and then two also to start my motivational speaking and coaching. I knew that this was the time I was finally going to start running from it. So I was like, I'm going to just delve right into it.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, like so that was quite a journey, like from moving there and then moving back, and it's a big step too, like to come back and going to start to do this. And so with like what I know we have, like I sent you some questions, but I'm just curious,
You can ask me anything. I'm an open book.
so what like, you know, from being in DC and then moving back and, like, you know, pursuing this, what made you like realize that, okay, I have to do this like now and this is the right time to do it?
So I always liken this to, you know how when your mom would call your name and it first started off like, oh, Audrey, Audrey. And then the more that you ignored her, it starts to get a little bit louder, a little bit more clear. She might add on your last name. And like for me, I know when my mom calls me Marquise, which is my middle name, I'm in trouble. And so I would say all those years that I was running and moving, and I was running from what I was supposed to do, which is motivational speaking and coaching. My mother had always told me, like, Iva, you need to tell your story, and you have such a powerful gift. Don't hide it. And I was like, nope, because in order to do that, and then I had to embrace my cleft. So it was, I want to say about 2 years ago when I was like, okay, I'm gonna start this whatever Real Sophisticated Joy was, because I was going through a whole like revamp of who I was. And I did public speaking, found about Toastmasters, and it was just the first speech that I did happened to be about my cleft. I didn't know that was what it was going to be. It just came out of me. And I remember I got like a standing ovation,
Wow.
and they have to give you like comment cards, and I'll never forget. And I still have the card, and the guy wrote, Iva's story motivated and inspired me. And in fact, he has now passed away. So like I hold on to that card because it's like I have to do this because I know that I've already touched one person and I gotta see it through. So after that, it was kind of like, this is it. Then it was December, no, yeah, December of last year. And I was like, Mom, I think I'm gonna come home to do this. And I was expecting this long drawn out, like, let me complete my case. This is X, Y, and Z. And she was just like, okay. She was like, I've been waiting on you. And it was just like,
Wow.
and ever since then, again, things have just been flowing. And that for me was my confirmation that this is what I was supposed to do. But it was so easy that I was just like, you sure? She was like, I've been waiting on you.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
was like, okay.
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing, like, you know, when it's like when it's the right time, I think doors just opens and then you just
Yes.
start that, okay, this
Yeah.
to do it. And you're right,
Mm-hmm.
I think just like one person's lives, that's one person. Like, you know, it's
Yep.
ah, wow.
Yeah. It's mind blowing. I actually have the card on my desk, and I see it all the time. So like even days when I do get discouraged, I do look at it. So it's like, okay, nope, you got to keep going.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, because even like when I went on your website, I was reading your story and I'm like, I haven't even heard you talk it. Like just reading your story, I was blown away. That's why I'm like, I'm so giddy. Like, oh, I want to hear more about your story because it's like you have
Thank you.
and it's packed like in the website. I can't imagine like hearing it live. Um,
And
yeah.
it's funny. When I was writing up the website, it was so funny because I was writing it and I was just, I put it on all my all into it. This was my baby, putting it up. And another friend, I had somebody look over it and she was just like, I've known you for like 10, 20 years. And I'm sitting up here like, she was in awe. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's just me. But she was like, no, Iva, this is something different. This is something different. And so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Like reading it, I'm like, wow. Like, and I think, you know, you're so talented in writing. I can just imagine like you speaking out there. Like, Yeah, I would love to hear you like speak. I would love to be in one of your conferences one day and then just sit there,
Yes.
probably be screaming at the back, "Oh, Iva!"
Yes. It's one of my dreams that I speak at something for cleft and craniofacial. Like when I started this, I had a financial advisor and he was like, okay, well, write out 100 things that you want to do in your lifetime. And one of the things for me is I know that I want to write off at least three $10,000 checks to the Cleft and Craniofacial Association because I know the work that needs to be done and helping out all the other babies get their forever smiles. That is something that I am committed to. So it's like, I have to do this. I
Yeah.
have to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I've noticed like that's like hearing it from you, like, it's been this is my first year with HuRo Kids in raising awareness.
Mhm.
So it's like I've met a lot of amazing families and individuals in this,
Mhm.
including yourself. And I love how everybody is so like we just have the heart to give back. Like, there's so many organizations there and they're all doing amazing job for our community. Hearing you say that, I'm getting all sorry. I'm a bit emotional.
It's hard not to. It is hard not to. Don't worry. I have a rubber band that I pop so I don't.
I don't have napkins. So, mascara smudging. So
You
yeah,
gotta hold your head like and blink like 3 times and it works. It works.
yeah, that's just so nice to hear. And it's like, yeah. So okay, could you share more about yourself and your cleft journey and your Peter's anomalies journey as well? Like we would love to hear about that.
So it's a crazy. I came in on a ride. Of course, as my mother already knew that I had a cleft palate, she did find that out in utero. Then at birth, I was a breech baby coming out backwards, the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. So that was already for her, like, come on. And then first surgery within 6 months, then the next one within a year of my birth. So by the time I was 5 years old, I believe that I had already had about 10 of them. I think even one was like open heart, had about 3 or 4 rhinoplasties. The last 2 were probably on my own self because, and I know that many cleft palate can relate to this about the fact that you have this image of what you want your rhinoplasty to be. I was sitting up there months before, ripping out different magazines. I'm a little bit older, so like, noses of like Vanessa Williams or Mariah Carey, just like to give him, and I have to thank him because he tried to appease me, but it was like, I can only do so much. And so you would go through these surgeries and you'd have these big expectations, and sometimes you really would be let down. And that would also play a psychological thing about it. So I know for me, from the age of like 6 months to actually until I graduated from high school, 18, I was in and out of Nemours, to the point that nurses on the floor, they knew me, I knew them. We were on like to the fact that they gave me my lifelong nickname of Miss Iva. It was being in the hospital was nothing new to me,
Hmm.
and that's how I spent my life. But it was funny because when I would have my surgeries, I would always have the same sign that tell people when you come in here, you cannot be sad. This is a happy place. This is a happy smile place. No tears. And so that I think really helped with me overcoming a lot of it.
Wow. Wow. I'm blown away. 30 So did you have the 30 surgeries until you're 18?
I had my last surgery in 2010.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
Right. So a lot of them were like back to back. And I always like to say that I was the special clef in that I even had to have my mouth reconstructed. So that meant about 3 months of having my mouth wired shut. And mind you, this actually happened right after my father passed away. So this was in my sophomore year. That's a very big pivotal time in a girl. So I'm like, what, 15?
Mhm.
Dealing with my father's death, and then now you can't go to school because you can't go to school like that. And just I remember overhearing my mom like talking to my doctor like, should I be concerned because I really think she's getting like, depressed. And it was because it was just like, is there ever going to be an end to all this? like that was really a question: is there ever going to be an end to all this? I can say now, yes, and that seems like such a different person, but at the time, I couldn't have had. It was just, yeah.
Well, that's tough. It's like having like, so you were at home for 3 months. So how did you come out of like that situation where you're feeling a little bit depressed, and then your mom is worried about you, and then losing your dad? That's a lot going on there. So how did you bounce back, and like, like from that moment to like after, like, like, yeah, I'm curious to.
And after that,
Yeah.
luckily, again, I tell people all the time, to me personally, like having great parents really makes a big difference, especially in any child who has a disability. So my mom, number one, dealing with the fact that she's now a single mother, she never let us see that. She never let us see that pain, but she knew me, and I'm a girl who likes to shop. I like to look pretty even back then. So right around the time that I was supposed to get my wires off and everything off, it was going to be the
Mm,
fall formal.
mm,
And so I'll never forget, she took me to Dillard's. And, typically moms are like, you got to have a budget. This particular time, she was like, no budget. But I was still like, I don't trust you. Yes, there was. But I remember I found, yeah, like, you say this now. But I found this black off the shoulder dress, and I put it on. And I was like, I don't know, mom. And like, it really was a scene out of a movie. I come out, and I'm kind of like, and everybody, the saleswoman was like, you have got to buy that dress.
mm.
She was like, I'm going to find a code for you. That moment was a moment that it seemed small, but I needed it. I needed it. And then going to the dance, and it really for me was kind of like the closest Cinderella moment that I had. My friends were there, everybody was celebratory. I remember taking pictures, and for the first time, I think I kind of stepped out confidently.
Mm. Wow.
And so, again, things align when they're supposed to align, but I needed that dance. And I never thought about it like that until now, but I needed that.
Wow. So that was your turning point to like, okay, I'm back.
Yeah, that was a kind of a turn. That was the kind of turn. I would say that my major turning point for me, I would say again about 3 or 4 years ago. In fact, like one of the things now, like people now every day, all the time, like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty. And there was a point maybe about 2 years ago when I lived in DC. Nobody has a car in DC. You don't need it. I lived in DC, so I could take the metro and the bus, and so I would walk to work. And I mean, men, females, everyone, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, you're so gorgeous. And I remember one day saying, oh my gosh, I'm tired of people always telling me I'm so pretty. And my inner head was like, girl, are you kidding me? There was a day and time where you would have died for someone to tell you that you're pretty. And so having moments like that, and he was like, you know what, you're right. But I think what it is now, I think that I have finally let my inner self shine through, and that is what comes through. So I'm comfortable with me, and I make other people comfortable with me. And as if you're not, oh well, I'm still going to be me. And I think,
Hello. Sorry, it got cut off there a little bit. I missed the last part. So you said you're
I can't hear
comfortable
you.
with.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, I'm now comfortable with me, and I think that is what comes out.
okay.
And that's what I'm always, my coaching, that's what I get my patients to do, is that you have to get comfortable with yourself. And once you do that, it is almost like this master key is unlocked. And not saying that you don't have bad days, of course, everybody does, but it becomes manageable.
Mm.
It becomes a lot manageable. And it shows all over you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? Like, even for like, it's, this is, I'm saying this because this was my first experience when I heard about you from Jen, and like,
Mhm.
I watched one of your live last week, and
Mhm.
wow, like Iva, it's like, there's just something about you. It's like, like they said, my mom always tells me, out of the abundance of the heart, your mouth speaks.
Mhm.
And like this,
Mhm.
full of like you're just so much joy in you, and it's just like in your heart to like help
Mhm.
others as well. It's a bit, even just now like talking to you, like it seems it's you're contagious. It's like your joy is just contagious. So, yeah.
That is the plan. That is really what it wants. And the thing is, you wouldn't be surprised. Like I get nervous. I'm nervous right now, but I have learned that. So I always talk about the fact that when I was younger, I really was upset. My parents were not like, super religious, but I grew up in the church. And I remember I was like mad at God. Like, why did you do this? What the heck is wrong? Like, let's talk about this. Like, let's really have a conversation about this. And my dad was like, he had to give you something to slow you down. And I was a daddy's girl. So that really hurt me because I was like, what you talking about? Like, that, I had to have something to slow me down. Like, I didn't understand that. But it wasn't until I've gotten here, I was like, okay, he had a plan, and how you just said it's something about you. He had a plan, and I don't think I would have been able to execute it in any other way. So all of this is just what you pour into you is what comes out.
Yeah.
And so I'm very conscious about that. I'm making sure that I'm pouring in positivity to myself because it matters. It shows in your life. Like I'm very solution based. There's no problem. It's just a solution.
Yeah.
And with that, it makes you be creative.
Mhm.
It actually helps with your IQ. It helps with you in being able to communicate with other people because it's like, I don't have a problem. I have a solution that I have to figure out. I also do like puzzles. I'm a whiz at a puzzle.
Oh yeah, puzzles. I need to learn puzzle. I'm so hard. Like
I'm a whiz. Oh, like Sudoku. Oh, that is. My mom laughs at me because I'll sit there and do the hard ones and literally can do it in like 2 or 3 minutes and just it 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 just pops in my head.
wow, wow. Yeah, Sudoku. I think my first introduction with Sudoku, I used to work as a flight attendant, and we do these long flights, like sometimes 17 hours. And in the I used to work with, we're not allowed to read books, but they didn't say we're not allowed to play Sudoku. So I have Sudoku in my flight attendant bag, and I play Sudoku like like when all the passengers are sleeping. And it's like, okay, 7 hours more to go.
So two things. Number one, I've actually gotten in trouble with that because if I'm on a plane and I'll see somebody doing it, and if they're either A, doing it wrong or they don't know a number, I'll be like, oh, you might want to try one right there. Oh, you might want to try nine. Yeah, it's not seven, it's nine. And one guy was like, no, it's not, no, it's not. So I let him do the whole puzzle. And he looks at me, he was like, it was nine. And I said, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong.
Telling you. That's funny. Ah, that's funny.
And then two, you've actually had one of my dream jobs. I've always said like if I wasn't a motivational speaker, I love to travel. And I was like, oh, I bet you would be like the best thing to be would be a flight attendant because you get to travel
You get to travel for free.
for free. Like that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. And go to exotic places. And because most of the time it's the plane flight that's the most expensive. So yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, flights and hotels are like it's so expensive with the air travel. Yeah, the part that I missed, I resigned. I'm like, oh, now I have to pay full fare, and I don't get like the express or the express lane where the flight attendants go. Like I have to line up with
Or
them.
how you can always get a flight? No, I'm sorry. No. I'm telling you, if this thing doesn't work out, I'm signing up to be a flight attendant.
Go for it. It's actually fun. Like it's fun where sometimes you need to clean the toilet, so that's the part which is not fun. um,
If I can get, a free plane ticket to clean the toilet, I can do that. Sorry, dropped it. Taking a little bit too bit. See, guys, I get nervous too.
well, I'm not used to doing live. So like last week I had bloopers when Tasha and I before started, my face was like silver. I feel like I'm the Wizard of the Oz. Like I know I keep moving around and it's still like silver. I have to like put the blinds down and yeah, but wow. So okay, going back to our question. So how was it like growing up for you? What are the challenges did you face? Because like now you're very confident and you're helping others. But like, of course, you've been through some stuff as well. Like, did you get bullied up? And then how did you deal with all those situations that happened in the past?
So I definitely was a victim of bullying. I think one of the most horrendous things that I remember, I was in the fifth grade, and my mother, again, making sure that I lived a normal life. I was in the band, I played the flute, not really, but whatever. And we were coming back from a recital, and so I was in the fifth grade, so all of the fifth grade classes were in trailers outside of the school, but we had to go from the back of the school out into the trailers to set it up. And so as I'm walking back to my class, there was a class of maybe like second graders, so they're little kids. And as I begin to walk down on both sides, they start laughing, pointing, ew, what's wrong with your face? And it's one of those things that I can close my eyes and see it to this day, to the point that I remember a classmate was walking in front of me. He clearly could hear it. He knew what was going on, and he turned around, and the look on his face, I think that hurt the most because he felt shame for me. And it was just like, so I'm a kid. I want to cry, but it's
Mm.
like in my head, I'm like, you will not cry. You will not let them get that. Now, as soon as you get past here, you can excuse yourself, but you will not cry. So I almost like that often. Other kids, other girls, especially because I had to take on maybe a more harder exterior than I really am. Like how I am now, I am very light, joyful, happy, but it was like I couldn't be that because I was always on defense because somebody was always saying something. So it just wasn't like middle school was horrible. It
Mm.
was horrible. I can remember there were some times where I would like eat lunch in the bathroom just because I didn't want to be bothered today. I didn't want to be bullied today. So let me just go eat in the bathroom.
Oh, oh, that's so sad.
But at the same time though, I was blessed that I met three of those. We call ourselves Fantastic Four. We've been friends now for the last rock. We always went to like the same school together. At least one of us went to the same school together. So it was, I had them, and then I also had other good friends. And then I always had my older brother who definitely would go let people know this is not happening. So I had a balance, but there were definitely times where I felt alone against bulls. Yeah.
Have you ever had a situation where you called out someone who's trying to bully you? Like,
Oh, yes. Definitely, I would do it. And especially, I had even had to do it as an adult woman. And that for me, like that actually and was another catalyst of real sophisticated joy because I remember I must have been about 28 at this point, and so I really thought that I had overcome everything with my cleft palate, and she was just she was vicious. And I remember I told a friend, I was like, she's being a bully, and sometimes people don't always register that you're being serious. So she was like, yeah, she is, but she brushed it off. And so I was like, okay. And so I just disengaged from her the entire trip. It was, don't talk to me. I'm not going to talk to you. We don't need to do this. And then we had a follow up conversation. And I sort of like, this is how you made me feel. This is
mm,
how you make me feel. And it's kind of now an understanding like we're in the same friend group. It's like a known thing. I will say hello to you. I will show you respect. All I ask is that you show me the same, but we can never have any type of real like dialect because it's kind of like what Maya Angelou said, where it's like people will remember how you make them feel. That's all I can remember is how you made it. And it was worse because I was a grown woman and
mm.
being made to feel like I was 6 years old getting picked on for my cleft palate.
Yeah.
Nah, you know.
What did you say when you talked to her and let her know that that's how she make you feel?
So, and again, when you're dealing with a bully, you have to be able to call facts. And I was like, you said this, You did this.
Mhm.
Like I gave her listed examples, and this is how it made me feel. I did not appreciate the way that it made me feel. This is not something that I'm going to tolerate the way that it made me feel. And then I asked the question because I remember she invited me on the trip. And I was like, well, so my other question was, is this why you brought me on the trip? Like,
Yeah.
was it to make fun of me? Did I do something? Because sometimes you will have offended somebody and you don't know. And I learned quickly that sometimes me being confident is an offense in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, if she would have said that, yes, it was my confidence, I wouldn't have toned down, but at least I would have known. I didn't get a response. I didn't get an answer. But again, moving forward since then, it's kind of just been a mutual, hey, we can answer general questions toward each other, but we don't have much engagement.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's actually how I like with the even at work one time I had a coworker that was trying to bully me. And again, with her, again, because it's a coworker, there's a certain way that you have to handle it. I waited until after work.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I just listed off, this is what you have said. These are the comments that you've made. I have noticed that you have tried to undermine my work. One thing I can say, I have a really good work ethic. So if you're going to tell me that I'm not doing good work, you're going to have to give me examples. You have no examples? Okay. So this seems like it might be a personal. If so, this is a form of bullying. I'm not going to tolerate this. This is something that me and you can work out personally, or if needed, I can always escalate this. What would you like us to do? How can we rectify this? After that, it was actually funny. She was one of my best coworker friends. And when I left the company, she was like, please let me know if you ever change your number. We have to stay in contact. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know. I do have that capability of being, for the most part, of like people that have used to bully me, being able to turn them over. I don't know. Because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna address it. This is what happened. Especially
Mm-hmm.
now that I have my voice. Oh, this is what happened. This is how it made me feel. I don't appreciate it. I will not be disrespected. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I
Well,
think everyone needs to step into that and realize that you have a right. Like you don't have to take disrespect.
yeah, I totally agree. Like I think, as we get older as well, like we learn how to deal with bullies as well. And like you said earlier, like
Mm-hmm.
back, when you were younger, like it's harder. Like that just breaks my heart hearing your story that you have to eat in the washroom so people
Mm-hmm.
won't bother
Mm-hmm.
you. Being a grown up woman and in the same circle of friends, and then there's this one person that made you feel that's 6 year old that was like being bullied,
Mm-hmm.
or so it's crazy how like the feelings of like deep hurts we bury it in our life, and then when something
Mm-hmm.
happens it just goes back. But like that's very impressive, like how you've learned to deal with it, and like now, like to just call them out, and then in a loving way they're like, yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
in a loving way they can't really, like, yeah, like what are you gonna say? It's like, oh,
Right. You
right,
can't
like,
really, and that's the difference between Iva now and Iva younger. Like, yes, I'm not gonna sit here and like, look, my name is called Real Sophisticated Joy for a reason. The real of it is when I was younger, yes, I would just, if you're gonna throw at me, I'm gonna throw at you. And so I used to like call out my cleft first. Oh, I would slander my cleft. Okay, now I'm gonna come back because you already came at me about something that I have no control over. My favorite line was, okay, I have a cleft palate. God made me like the way now. It's just I'm not gonna disrespect you, but I'm definitely not gonna let you disrespect me. That is not going to happen. But and I think honestly, was going through her own things. And sometimes that helps when you're dealing with someone if you know that they are going through their own situations. Now, it does not give you a pass to bully or be disrespectful, but it's like, I know where you're coming from.
mm-hmm.
But one last thing I wanted to touch on how you said about like things I've uncovered. For me, it was actually beneficial too because it let me know I still had some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
I still had some work to do. So I would be interested to see like if Because Iva today, how did she handle that? And also, I always say I owe her a check because out of that came real sophisticated joy. So again, you have to find a way to take the bad things and use it as fertilizer to grow what you want in your life.
That's a good one. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are good stuff. Um, should I take notes? It's like I feel like I should take notes here. You guys should.
One of my girlfriends says that. She's like, whenever she calls me, she has a notepad. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you always have a good one-liner or some type of jewel that you drop.
Yeah, I'm like, I will have to watch this again later and then like get that line and then write it down and then tag you in. Okay, so how did you so we talk about, like because of that, like in the beginning, how you found your path to become a confidence coach and a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think my next question is, why is cleft and craniofacial awareness important to you?
So for me, it's important because, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but cleft and craniofacials are not that common in the African American.
Mm-hmm.
There is another clefty who is African American, especially when it's a little girl. It's like I gravitated to them and they gravitate to me. Like I remember one time I did one and I'm like, I'm not gonna cry about it, but she came to me and she touched me and she was just like, you're pretty. And I touched her back and I was like, you're pretty too. Because I can remember growing up, I didn't get anyone that looked like me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And a lot of times in my own community, they would be the ones that would judge me the most because it's not common. It wasn't common, So for me, it's all about educating people. I'm a trainer too. Like in my professional setting, corporate, I'm a trainer. So sometimes if you don't know something, of course you're going to respond incorrectly. If you've never been introduced to a disability or a cleft palate, you're not going to know how to respond. So that's why like Cleft Palate Awareness Month is so important because it can literally change how someone sees something. So that's another reason why I wanted to make sure to come out on this platform because it's like, yes, I'm an African American woman, but I'm also an African American woman who has a cleft. And I can't tell you how many times I get like, you're the first person I've known that has a cleft palate. And so I want them to see like, and they haven't had like a lot of their forever smiles. I'm gonna repost it because I want you to see this. I want you to be aware of this and ask questions, but ask questions the right way. That's something else that you have to educate people on. You can't just go up to them and like, oh, were you in a fire? No, that's not how you ask. That's not how you ask.
Yeah. There's something about
surprise. People ask the craziest things.
I like that part when you said, when you're gonna ask questions, you gotta ask questions. Like, don't just ask. Like, sometimes people don't have filter in their heads that they just say whatever without thinking of what other people will feel. I think, I think in some of the mom's group we have like, I think some people when they ask, like, when it comes to like it's not very, they don't see as much adults now that has balance here in North America because like at a very young age you go through,
it's corrected.
Yeah, but sometimes like you would still see a little bit of a scar and then then people are aloof to talk about it. And I think it's because like some people have been so mean in asking them questions or sometimes the question itself. Like I remember
it's off the wall.
Like I know I talked to this with Christopher last time on our first live. Like we had the Amazon guy that delivered the package, and he asked my husband, "What's wrong with your son's nose?" My husband was like, "What do you mean? What's wrong with his nose? There's nothing wrong with his nose." No, like he keeps pointing. My husband was like, "Go away!" Like he wasn't like, you don't. He means well, but the question is just like maybe he can ask like, well, what happened?
That's the worst.
Yeah, there's a better way of asking, and I hope, like, with the cleft awareness, we can educate them as well how to ask questions properly. And yeah,
Exactly.
so it was.
And like you said, it's the adults. It's the adults because like kids when kids ask me, however they ask me, I don't take it as hard for kids. Kids say whatever comes out of their mouth, good, bad, and different. It's just, but an adult,
Yeah.
I can't come up to you and be like, oh, what's wrong with your shirt? You can't have a stand. Like there's a way that you would want me to approach you, so I need you to do the same for me.
Yeah.
And first off, I don't have to tell you what's wrong with my nose. I don't have to tell you that. And if you want me
Hmm.
to tell you, you might want to ask me in a better way.
Yeah. 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 So I think that's a great part of the cleft awareness. We're just not educating them about cleft lip and palate and craniofacial, but we're also educating them how to ask questions properly. Yeah, because that's very important. Like it's not about, sometimes it's not about your intention, but it's about how you deliver your question as well.
Yep, how you say it. It's not
How
what you say, it's how you say it.
and
That
how you
can change the tone of the conversation. Because I don't mind talking to you and I will educate you. But again, like I said, I've had people be like, oh, were you in an accident? Sure. I'll play along with it. Sure. Because you didn't ask me, you weren't asking to know because you wanted information or to be educated. You were asking to be nosy or because you were uncomfortable.
Mhm. Yep, totally.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Oh, these are good stuff. Okay, so I want to be respectful of your time. I've seen it's 1:42 here, and I'm
Oh,
like,
you're
oh, 32.
fine.
We go over time on our live. Okay, so this is like to wrap up our live today. I can talk to you. I think I can
Okay.
talk to you our day. Like I'm learning so much from you. Like, okay, so I think let's wrap it up with the last question today, and I probably would bug you on your
Okay.
Instagram asking questions. So
No problem.
okay, so this one, the last question is like, what advice or encouragement can you share to your fellow cleft champs and others who are facing a similar journey?
This one is on. This is something that I don't even know if I would have told my own self this 10 years ago. But the pain that you are running away from, as far as dealing with your cleft and embracing your cleft and loving your cleft, you don't have to be like myself or such as, Jen, Don't Get Lippy, or other cleft champions. You don't have to necessarily be that, but you do have to, in your own, become comfortable with your cleft. It is a part of you. It has made you you, and a lot of times it has made you a beautiful, like you, someone who goes through a cleft palate, or a craniofacial. You have something that most people don't have, and that is you have a little bit of, it's a thing of perseverance that not a lot of people have, because what we go through is hard. It's hard to deal with this, especially for the older generation who didn't get to have advancement of the surgeries today, which you went through this your whole life. There are some people who have never gone through any type of adversity. So that's a strength. When I go on job interviews, I actually to my club and mention it as a skill because I know how to deal and endure things. You have to embrace it. If you don't embrace it, it is going to eat you up. My mother always used to tell me, Iva, you have to believe and act like you have a cleft palate, not cleft palate has you. Who
Hmm.
owns it? Who owns who? I own my cleft palate. You have to own it. And once you own it, it's not as big of a deal. It's going to be there, and you're going to get people who are ignorant, but you can own it, and you can walk in your power with that. And when you do that, it's easy.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. Wow, you guys. Iva, that's really good. I'm trying to hold my tears back here. It's like, because yeah, that was really good. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, uh, that's really, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think as a mom, like, it's like hearing you say that, it just warms my heart, like, that you are very comfortable of who you are, and you're here teaching others. We have so many comments here. Hillary, Jen is here. Yeah, like
Hi, Jen.
yeah, thank you for sharing.
Of
I
course.
That was really good, and sorry, I was caught off guard there. I was
It's
like I was
okay.
choked what you're saying. It's um yeah, I think especially as women, you know, it's really big, and it's like yeah, to own yourself and to be able to be
Mhm.
conscious who you are, that's really huge. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I thank you so much. You guys who are watching, I hope you enjoyed our live today. And I would love to stay a little bit longer, but it's our time is already or it's already time's up. But hopefully we can do another live and Iva.
Of course, I would love to, Audrey. It was been perfect. I have had a good time. I've enjoyed it. I didn't cry. Woohoo!
I
I was
did.
very afraid. Like sometimes.
And like when I cry, I'm ugly. Like my nose, like it's like everything comes out. Oh. I should have brought it beside me because I wasn't expecting I'm gonna cry today. But yeah, that was
Sorry.
it. Really hit something in my heart, and thank you for touching our hearts today and for sharing your joy. You know what?
That's
Like
it. That real sophisticated joy.
you are the real sophisticated joy, and it's like, you know, keep doing what you're doing, and
Thank you.
yeah, we cheer you up, cheer you on, and we hope that you get to,
Thank you.
like, once this virus is over, that you get to travel out there and just share your story and encourage and empower a lot of not just young kids, but even like adults, women that have been through in this journey. Thank you so much for sharing your joy, and I'm so
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I will be back anytime you'll have me, Audrey.
Oh yes, yeah. Like it's this whole cleft lip and palate awareness month. Like I'm really enjoying it because I'm getting to know a lot of families here and individuals that
Mm-hmm.
everybody, you know, we kind of have a similar story and journey, but like it's still different. Like, you know, talking to you who has been through like 30 surgeries, and then hearing from another mom or another person who has a cleft, and it's just it's different stories. But you know what I've noticed, we all have in this community, we all have one thing in common. It's like, I'm not saying this because like I'm part of it, but I think what I've noticed is like everybody's so kind.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we all have a big heart to our community, and we care about
Mm-hmm.
each other, and I think that's what I
I
love
think
about it.
again,
Yeah.
I think again that is because of the club, because we know what it's like to, to be mistreated, to be disrespected, to be bullied, that I know for myself, I would never want to knowingly do that to somebody else. That is a big thing. And that's why I always say, like, I would never not want to have my club, because I think that I would be a different person. Having my club made me kind. It made me be aware of others. And so that really is shown in our community. Oh, and Hillary, you said, can you share my handle? It's Real Sophisticated Joy everywhere, pretty much, on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll text you Hillary as well. Hillary is with Operation Smile, and
Oh, okay.
yes, I love talking to Hillary. Like yeah, Hillary is amazing. Hillary was also born with Clef. Yeah. Oh, still.
Oh, I love meeting other clubs. Yay!
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing. Is like people don't realize like we are a group and we are a unit, and if we moved accordingly, we could do some things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I wish I've known you like sometime like early in January. This is how I start meeting people, like when the William mock Joaquin Phoenix on the national TV.
Oh, that's the whole. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. And Wendy Williams is banned in my house. Like we don't. After that, I was done. No, no.
Yeah, yeah, that was I couldn't. well, I didn't know I have a voice. Like, I'm just this mom who started this clothing company for
Mm-mm.
children. And I was so upset when they saw that video, and I'm like, oh, what should I say? What should I say? And I was like boiling, and I'm like, I'm gonna burst, and I bursted, and I wrote something which was like, sometimes it's how you say it. It's not what you
Mm-hmm.
say, how you say it. Um,
Yes,
wrote something, and I think that kind of triggered everybody. Like, I don't know who started, but like that's how I met
it happens.
everybody in the community. And I just love how, a lot of us were upset, but at the end of it, like, I'm amazed how the community just forgives. Like, you let it
Mm-hmm.
go, and we're going to keep raising awareness. And it's great that we even have friends that say, oh, hey, listen, I didn't know that a lot of people are affected. Like, a lot of people have cleft lip and palate. You just don't know because you don't
You
see.
just don't know. Like I tell people all the time, I love to talk about the fact that people don't realize, oh, what is his name? Um, Jesse Jackson has a cleft palate. No, because he always has had a mustache. There's a lot of celebrities that have clefts that you just don't know. So it's like, and of course we have Joaquin, who is gorgeous, by the way. But for her to say that and then to do the gesture on top of that on her platform, I was just like, oh, okay. That, yes, I do know that she apologized, but for me, it was just like, thank you, but no thank you.
Thank you, but no thank you. Exactly. Yeah, I think she needs to get herself. She needs to inform herself, and like
A
yeah,
little bit more education there. Just a little bit more education there.
exactly. Yeah, like that was pretty yeah, it was on national TV too, so it wasn't nice.
That's not what you say. That's not what you say at all. But that was it.
Well, at least now we can all work together, and we just keep doing what we're doing and raising awareness, and hopefully that none of the children and any in our community will get bullied, because it's yeah, it's the world is not nice. Like, it's there's so much going on out there, and I think as a mom, I'm scared that, like, when I was pregnant, like, now I think I can be like, go there and like get my stick and then scream and like, hey, listen, don't be done. But like, one day I'm gonna be old, and like, I won't be able to like go in. I just hope that one day, my son will be able to just like be yourself, like Christopher, that you can just stand up there and say,
You
hey,
will.
listen, yeah, I got a good mama who
You,
wanted before.
you will. The thing is, I think that you're a lot like my mother, and it's one of those things that as he's young, you may not ever see it. You won't see it at all, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, this boy!" But he's gonna grow up into an amazing man. He's gonna tell you it's because of you. Like I tell my mother all the time, the woman that I am today is because of her.
Yeah.
Dude, Audrey, we gotta go because you are not.
I know.
I have only.
I don't I don't have a Kleenex. I have this one that wipes my computer screen, which I can't use on my face.
But
Oh my
yes,
goodness.
he will be. He, we
Yeah.
cannot sit up here and cry.
Oh, you're
All
amazing.
right, we're gonna do an air hug. We're gonna
This
sit
is
to it, and we're gonna get off it.
We're gonna get off topic. That's right. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much again. This is I'm gonna say good. We're gonna say goodbye now for real. Thank you so much, Iva. We learned so much
You're
from you.
welcome.
Um,
Bye.
much. Bye for now, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Jen from Don't Get Leapy UK, she's gonna be joining us. I'm very, very excited for this one. So see you guys on Thursday. Sorry, Thursday, and I'll post it on our feed, and hopefully you guys can join and learn more about her journey as a clef champ and also as a clef mom. So yeah, I think I'm gonna sign off now, and we'll chat. Oh, hi. Okay, Jen, I'll see you on Thursday. Bye for now.